Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of Post Conference Presser for Anfield Index. We are into 2025, people, in around 48 hours, just over 48 hours to be precise. They will head down the East Lancs Road to face us at Anfield, won't they? So that is what you'd think most of the press conference would be around. And there was a little bit on that, no doubt. But naturally, off the field matters come to fruition as well. There was a few questions. There were some really bad ones, in all honesty, as well. So we'll be talking about that. But I'm your normal host, Dave Davis, coming to you from what, like Anfield, will be is an absolutely freezing Edinburgh. You know, Anfield is going to be chilly as hell come Sunday afternoon. And most importantly, you hope it's an icy atmosphere for them as they head down the East Lancs. I mean, it's a massive game. It needs no build-up. So we'll do the normal things, ladies and gents. We'll talk you through what did Arne get asked, what answers did he give. We'll look back to West Ham and think about the clues we saw from that. We'll talk about the threats that United bring. Don't laugh too hard because there are a few things to consider in that. And then I'll give my normal predicted lineup, score, and scorers. So plenty to go through for this one. So let's start with Arne Slot and the question he was asked right at the start. Utter crap. This is genuinely, I don't know what happened. Vinny O'Connor wasn't there, but the first question asked to Arne Slot today was bordering on disgrace, to be honest. I think, I don't know, I'm assuming it was Sky, but really need to look at who they sent and the questions they asked for this one. So if you think that's dramatic, listen to this for the first question. As this is probably the worst United side you've ever faced, do you think you will rest players from this one? Genuinely, that was the question he was asked. So how did he answer? He kind of laughed and said, it's, very strange question. No, I'm not going to plan to rest players, and this is a big game. For me, I said, in my opinion, they have much better players than the league table shows. It could take a while for Ruben Amorim to bring in his type of players, but they will definitely go up, and they are better than the league table shows. I mean, could you get a more stupid question? It's Liverpool versus United. It's football prestige. It's the biggest game in the Premier League calendar. I don't know what anyone else says. Everyone knows that's the case. You know, when you talk of rested, and we think back to last season where, we'll talk about last season, but when they managed to scrape a 0-0 draw just because of what we did wrong, any talk of resting, rotate, it's just a stupid question. And it kind of got the look and the answer that it deserved from Arne Slot. I don't know. I don't want to say I know that for definite because they usually open up. It wasn't Vinny O'Connor, but yeah, whoever asked that question, let's just hope we don't see them again in a Liverpool press conference. Then he got asked about Trent, but not in the order you'd probably think or the next question you expected. So he was asked about players getting better and specifically Trent being referenced as getting better. He said, well, there's always room for improvement. You look at Mo, he's 32 and he can still get better. It's hard to say, for instance, with him, though, as he's got such great numbers. Just before I came into this press conference, I was watching our game against West Ham. And Mo was walking off the pitch a little frustrated, even though we were 3-0 up, as he knows he probably could have got a few more goals. Trent can improve a little bit, but these players are at the top of the world. So there's not much room for improvement, but there's always a bit, especially Trent, in my opinion, as defensively, he's made a step up this season. In some games, he was outstanding in every part of the game, but there's sometimes a bit of up and down in some games too. He could have done a bit better, and it's about consistency for Trent. Now, everyone is naturally going to be thinking, why didn't they open with a contract question? That's coming, trust me. But I actually thought this was a very good question and very well answered. Arne Slot, despite all the reporting that will come out from this today, was still on top form and gave some superb answers like this one. Yeah, all these players like Mo, Trent, Virgil, who we talked about later, they are elite players, aren't they? No two ways about it at all. Does that mean they can't improve? Absolutely not the case. And I think he's right what he said with Trent. Trent that in carte blanche to focus on his defending this season. And he's been very, very good. You can see the marked improvement in Trent's defending. You can see the marked improvement in many players because of Arne Slot. And it is right that he should get the credit for that, most importantly. So, yeah, a lot to like it. And I got, well, someone was maybe going a bit softer, shall we say, into the Trent part, because then, and I'm going to group all these together for you because they weren't all asked at the same time. There was an intro, and then there was the last few where I think it was Carl Markham and David Lynch. A shout out to them, really pressed it home. So I'm going to put all three Trent parts together for you to make it easier. So he was asked about Trent, the rail beard, and have you spoken to the player? He said, yes, I speak to every player once in a while. So for Trent, that was the same. Yes, I spoke to him. It was then followed up with the, I know he can't tell us exactly, but can you give a nature of what was said? And he answered, these conversations I've never shared that I've had with players. It was a conversation like many others that I have, and we can leave that there for today. And then the final question, which David Lynch pressed him on, was, can you guarantee that Trent will, as per the rumours, won't go in January? I can tell you that he will play on Sunday. Hopefully, he'll bring the same performance that he's brought in so many games for the last year, as everyone's seen what a great first half to the season he has, and he's played an incredible game against West Ham the other day. I've seen him working his ass off. Yes, he did say ass in the press conference, and he will play Sunday, provided they tell me he's not sick. Now, a few people have jumped on these comments as like, why hasn't Slot said absolutely unequivocally no, Trent won't leave in January? Arne Slot has a different role than Jurgen Klopp. If you think back to the previous summer where Klopp was asked about Salah and will he go, he said unequivocally no, because he had that power. Arne Slot, and this isn't diminishing him in any way. I think he's an absolutely elite coach, but he is an elite head coach. Transfers and contracts are not his purview. As we know specifically, it's Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards, we know the structure. So Arne Slot cannot answer that unequivocally. That is the nature of his role. So I don't quite understand why a few people are sort of jumping on these comments at the moment as though, why didn't he clarify it? What does it mean, etc.? That type of. It's just because of his head coach role. And just to be absolutely clear at the same time as well, people, so you can see on my screen there's been stories today in the last hour, especially from both Paul Joyce and David Lynch, clearly reporting that Liverpool are making it public. Trent Alexander-Arnold will not be sold in January. So I see some people trying to make out, why didn't he say that? He doesn't have that remit. He doesn't have that purview. That is the simple reason. He was answering it in best he could. And by the way, great answer, because Trent, as he will have seen, will know if he's working his ass off. And he'll know if Trent is doing what he should be. And we have seen a marked improvement in his defending. So all the other noise, all the other chatter, that is not Arne Slot's responsibility. And as a few journalists, as we say there, have been quite clear, Liverpool are briefing very, very publicly, Trent Alexander-Arnold will not be going anywhere in January. So that answers it for me. It's not just about Trent, though. There were a few other questions. And most importantly, when we talk about the on-the-pitch stuff, injuries and that situation. So he was asked about Konate, Bradley, all those types of players. So what did he say? And Gomez, I should say as well. He said, Joe is not in a good place when it comes to injury and he'll be out for a few weeks. That wasn't the news that we wanted. Connor and Ibu will train with us for the first time today, and it will be interesting to see where they are exactly. They've worked hard to come back to the team, but the next step is how you handle those team sessions. We trained yesterday and I assume everyone is fit, but we're in that period of time where some people can get sick. Hopefully everyone bar Gomez is ready to play the game on Sunday. I mean, that is big and beautiful news. And if anyone missed it, just play a little snippet from the Liverpool social media account for all you baristas, mocha, frappe, latte buggers out there. Let's have a quick watch of this.
Double.
There you go. Ibu back in the building in good spirits, having a brew with his mate VVD. Even Joe Gomez looking at in decent spirits. And in terms of injury news, just as we know it, touch wood, fingers crossed, have only Joe Gomez out at this stage of the season. I think that is a massive positive. Obviously, I'd love Joe Gomez back because he covers so many roles, don't get me wrong. But Ibu back, will that mean he's in the lineup for United? Not so sure, but we will come to that very shortly. He was then asked a couple of questions about Salah being the best in the world and Virgil. So let's just play a quick clip on the Virgil side first of all. We'll come to him.
Game will mark 7 years to the day since Virgil van Dijk made his Liverpool debut, scoring the winner in a Merseyside derby. So a fabulous start. You knew a lot about him, of course, before you came here. What's enabled him to become the Rolls-Royce of the defender that he is? And even as he gets older, there appear to be so few blemishes to his game, and you can count the mistakes he makes almost on the fingers of one hand. What is it about him that makes him so special?
Yeah, then I have to make a long list because the best players in the world have so many great attributes. So I think Virgil has a lot of game intelligence. So he reads the game really well. He's big and strong. He's fast.
Love that. We're the big sigh in the right way. We would have to make a long list. And he's right for Virgil van Dijk. We are talking an elite player like Mo Salah, aren't we? As he said, game intelligence, it is unparalleled. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. He has all the attributes you would want for an elite level centre half, as well as the mentality and the personality to go with it. Honestly, we are genuinely blessed that he is in our lineup. Wouldn't it just be magnificent if we got some contract news to say he would stay at Liverpool a bit longer, which we're hoping for. We're probably expecting, if we're honest, quite soon, because all the murmurings have been positive around Van Dijk. So let's hope we do hear something in the near future. And then the final bit to bring you from the press conference was around Salah, and he was asked, is he the best in the world right now? He said, I got that question after West Ham, and it's difficult to talk about other teams' players. If I look at my team and not other teams, Virgil has had an outstanding season, obviously, but he doesn't have the numbers like Mo. It's difficult to judge players in different positions, but the numbers Mo has at the moment speak for themselves. Mostly when we say best players in the world, we tend to talk about attackers too. If you look at his numbers, the way he's playing, the work rate that he shows for the team, he's definitely a great player. No doubts about it at all. I mean, many others have talked about this on various AI podcasts and different places. The numbers that Mo Salah is putting up right now are scary. They are elite numbers. They are generational numbers. And if you look for the calendar year 2024 across Europe and his counterparts, he is, as we know, putting up the biggest numbers in terms of goal contributions. We know in the Premier League, he is absolutely strides ahead of anything else. Ignore the Cole Palmer shouts or anything else. The numbers, the play, and even the assist that you see for Jota against West Ham, in terms of when people talk is, oh, he's not as not got the dribbling ability or whatever, and all these. He just disproves everything time and time again. Liverpool have an elite world-class player. Well, they got more than one, to be fair, when we're talking elite players. Again, another one. Wouldn't it just be great to tie him down to a long-term deal? But aside from all the contract nonsense, I think the one thing I really wanted to sum up with both Virgil and Salah at the moment, they are absolutely tearing it up on the pitch. And that is what we asked for them. The contract stuff, obviously, that's background noise. But on the pitch, it is unreal what those two are doing at the moment. So let's just hope it keeps going the way it is. Shout out to Vidal, afternoon to you as well. So, yeah, if you are watching, feel free to like, drop a comment about anything that I've said, because now we're going to look back to West Ham and this game from the season million years ago, the 29th of December, doesn't it? But it was our last league game, a 5-0 hammering. There was so much to like. I don't know if anyone saw Stat Me Up that did with Barts, but dominated in terms of possession, dominated in terms of chances created, dominated in terms of field tilt, dominated in terms of shots in the box, and most importantly, dominated in the scoreline. 5-0 didn't flatter us at all. You saw so many positives in that game. Salah just being Salah, doing elite Salah things as normal. McAllister controlling things, looking refreshed. You know, that it's crazy how much that break has suited him. Even you almost expect it. Great to see a clean sheet because VVD getting the recognition. I don't know why it seems so hard to prize for the best centre-back of his generation, but 99% of stuff against West Ham was absolutely sensational. The only downside, the only negative to anything around West Ham was Joe Gomez, wasn't it? And even the way Arne Slot is phrasing it now that he's not in a good place, you do get the feeling that it's going to be a while before we see Joe Gomez in a Liverpool shirt again. But we'll have to see what develops in that regard. It is as well them. It's them down the East Lancs Road they'll be coming. It should be hostile. It will be hostile. It will be a great atmosphere. There's no two ways about it. And we should be bloodthirsty for these, because if you look at Manchester United, I mean, they are 14th in the table. They are on a horrendous run of form. I mean, we all saw that game that Newcastle won at Old Trafford 2-0. It should have been more for Newcastle. They just stopped playing. They are not scoring goals, as you can see as well. I mean, even in the league, to have only scored 21. And they're actually, when they say they've shipped 26, as me and Bart said on Stat Me Up, they're running hot in a way. It should be even more. So all that goes into the pot, mixed with Liverpool only having Gomez injured. But there are threats to this United team. Let's not get blasé. Annoyingly, King Rat will be back, won't he? So we'll probably have the captain's armband. There's no two ways about it. He does, for whatever you say about him, we could say a lot about him, he will bring goals and assists. There's no two ways about it to that side. Ugarte's back. I mean, I'm not being funny. You saw them with Casemiro and Eriksen. They might as well just got two nans on Zimmer frames in that midfield against Newcastle. So there will now be legs and physicality. Mainu will come back in there. Marcus Rashford, probably won't see him, which is absolutely crazy. Considering when you look at the forwards, he's got the most goals. And there is a reason why Saudi teams are wanting to pay a truckload of money per week. But just to be clear, I am not dismissing United. I think we were caught out last season. We need to be on this. Last season, they rocked up and they had Johnny Evans and Varane at centre-back. And everyone was saying, how many? We're going to get 6, 7, 8. It's going to be like that game again. And we had 34 shots, people, and it was 0-0. And they celebrated like they won a league title, which says more about where they were and probably are right now as well. However, complacency, absolutely, like last season, cannot creep in this one. We have to be on it from the first minute. We have to be making sure literally the foot is on their neck. United just are met by a wall of sound from the off. And for 90 minutes, it's just, it's welcome to hell for them type of thing. That is what we've got to make sure. Now, don't get me wrong. I know I've seen people say this could be 7 or 8. It's all about winning and no injuries. That is the focus. But to say this is going to be an easy victory, Liverpool United games, sometimes, as we know, the form book just goes out the window, doesn't it? So there cannot be any complacency. This has got banana skin potential, serious banana skin potential. We need to make sure we're on it from the off. Which brings us to the final bit where we talk about the lineup, score, and scorers. Now, for this one, I swithered on a few, but I think some are pretty straightforward. So Alisson will be in goal. Trent will be right back, as we know. I do think Robert will continue on the left. VVD, I do think it will be Jarell Quansah in this one. The fact that Arne Slot told us that today, Friday, 48 hours or so out from the game, is Ibu's first training session back. I genuinely think if he'd have trained yesterday, it might have been a different thing. But I just expect Jarell Quansah to start this one, which will raise a few questions with people because he is our fourth choice centre-half. Let's not make any bones about it. Jarell Quansah had a horrendous time last season against Manchester United as well. That's important to remember. Everyone will be thinking about that goal that he gave Bruno, wasn't it, when he then chipped it into the empty net. So it's a real chance for me, for Jarell Quansah to almost lay to rest the ghosts of Manchester United last season. But I'm fully expecting Jarell Quansah to be there. Midfield, this is a tough one. I mean, it's Grav and McAllister. There's zero doubts about that at all. Then, I do think it'll be Dominic Szoboszlai. I do think that he missed that last game. He's fresh, energy, and he will be tasked with pressing from the off. That is honestly what I believe Liverpool will do. Grav, McAllister, Szoboszlai in the middle. The exact same midfield that absolutely had their pants down at Old Trafford. That's my midfield. My attack, I think it will be the same that you saw against West Ham. I don't think you'll see any changes at all. I think it will be Gakpo on the left, Diaz in the middle, Mo Salah on the right. As in the front three that has the most goals. The front three that has the most overall goal contributions. The front three that is in form. And as I'm saying this, I know people will be saying, well, what about Jota? He did score. Yes, he did. And Jota is a sensational option from the bench in this one. But for me personally, that is the forward line I would go. Diaz in the false nine, pressing working his magic. Gakpo on the left, Salah on the right. And then you've got options if you need to change anything like Jota, Nunez, Jones, Elliott. You know, the fact we've only got Joe Gomez out at the moment is a massive advantage for us when you look at rivals and their injuries. No two ways about it. Which brings us then to the score and scoreline. Interesting, Nick Fadley thinks it'll be an easy victory, 4-1 there. My prediction for this one, 2-0. 2-0, clean sheet, Mo Salah to get the second. And like that 1920 season, the top to come off. We're going to win the league to ring around Anfield. That is my honest prediction. 2-0 Liverpool home victory. But listen, I know people were wanting hammering 7-0s and all that. I get it. As long as we win and there's no injuries, we move on to the next. That's what it's about. We are in the grind. It is that time of the season. Get 3 points and move on. I know 7-0 will be magic. Don't get me wrong, but just my honest prediction. Throw yours in as well. Nick went 4-1. There's different predictions. What do you think the final score will be in this one? Listen, we haven't got too long to wait, though, have we, in all honesty? 4:30 Sunday, they will come down the East Lancs Road. They will be met by an absolute wall of sound. I can't wait to be there. If you are, will be there as well. I know you'll be looking forward to it. Even if you're watching, I know you'll be looking forward to it. So much to be excited about as a Red right now. But there we go. On Friday, the 3rd of January, just over 48 hours out from the game, that was another post-conference presser for Anfield Index.